welcome back to Davin Biology. So this is the part 2 video of our SBP 2022 trial paper. Okay, so part 1, I actually did section A structure question. Also, if you missed that, okay, the link's actually up here lah. You can finish this video and go and watch actually also the same lah. Doesn't have to be in sequence. Okay, so yeah, if you missed the first part, actually again the link for SBP punya paper and also answers are below lah. But however, the answers are only in PM. Okay, that's why just like part 1, I will mainly focus on English punya answers only. Alright, so question 9 here, we actually have a plant question from 5 chapter 6 reproduction in plants. Now plants I don't really expect to come out in the essay lah. Okay, but anyways, we just practice. So this is actually, you can see formation of the male gamete, pollen grain, and formation of the female gamete, which is the embryo sac over here. Okay, so inside a flower, right, the male part over here is the stamen. Okay, so the part whereby the pollen grain is being produced is actually inside here, this part. So this part of the stamen is called anther. Yeah, so this is like the testes of the plant. This is where the pollen grain male gamete is being produced. So for the female part, is this whole thing here. Okay, so this whole thing here is called the carpel. And specifically this part, which is the ovule, is where the so-called embryo sac will be produced. Alright, let's look at the first question first. They say process Y producing 2 nuclei. What are producing process Y? Okay, let's briefly just go through the whole thing first. So by the way, this is pollen grain. So just like in human, to produce sperm, you cannot straight away like sperm come out. So there's a sequence of process that the cell needs to undergo to become a sperm, just like over here. This cell over here, the microspore mother cell, need to undergo a few processes to become pollen grain. So microspore mother cell first will undergo meiosis, then you will have 4 what we call as microspore cells over here. So the mother will disappear, this word. So what's the meaning of tetrad? Tetrad means you have 4 microspore cells together. Yeah, that's called tetrad law. Okay, then the process Y here is actually mitosis. The nucleus will undergo mitosis. And so in the end, you have 2 nucleus over here. So that's what the question here is asking. So the importance of this process Y is to produce these 2 nucleus. The smaller one is called generative nucleus. Okay, I just label here, which will eventually undergo mitosis later lah. When double fertilization occurs at the time, it will become another 2 here, which are called the male nuclei. Both of them are called the male nuclei. That's why in plants they are called double fertilization. There are 2 male gametes fertilizing 2 female things. Okay, and the other one here, this is called the tube nucleus. Right, so these are the 2 nucleus over here. So the importance here, you can say it is to produce the 2 nucleus on top there, the generative nucleus and tube nucleus. Okay, then the second point, briefly explain generative nucleus is what? You can see how to produce generative nucleus, which is the male gamete. Okay, so tube nucleus is not really the male gamete because this is not involved in fertilization. Tube nucleus will form something called the pollen tube law. So that's how you get your 2 marks. You state the 2 cells name and what does it become later. So that's the 2 marks over here. Okay, now B, they ask us to compare. Yeah, so as usual, you pause yourself and copy the answers, alright? So, okay, question B here, compare and contrast the processes in 9.1 and 9.2. So the processes in 9.1 and 9.2 is formation of male and female gamete in plant. So let's briefly go through the female process first, then only we compare lah. So actually the processes are similar, meiosis and mitosis only. So by the way, the cell here, this cell here, inside the ovule, it begins as megaspore mother cell. So just now they were micro, this one mega. Now, as always, just like human, right? Female, right? Girls, right? Always slightly more pattern a bit one. We all know that, right? So the pattern thing here that happen is right now, after when you undergo meiosis, so you can see your meiosis here, to become 4 cells. But however, 3 of them will degenerate, leaving 1 only. Okay, so just now, microspore mother cell become microspore cell. Here also the same, microspore mother cell become megaspore cell. After 3 degenerate already, you leave only 1 more megaspore cell. Then right now, the nucleus will mitosis as well. However, this time it will mitosis 3 times. 3 times. Understand now? So therefore, when you mitosis 3 times, you're going to have 8 nucleus. Okay? So this thing here, so you can see this is the mitosis process, 3 times mitosis here. Once I mitosis, you have 8 nucleus, right? This whole thing here now is called the so-called embryo sac. Embryo sac. So this 8 nucleus also got name. Now, I'll mention the 2 nucleus here that's involved in double fertilization, involved in reproduction. Of course, the middle one the middle one at the bottom, that's called egg cell. The 2 in the middle is called the 2 polar nuclei. Now this, actually 3 lah, but it's 2 lah, because these 2 is the same name. They are involved in double fertilization. But today we're not going to do that lah. The remaining one have no function, so we're just going to need to remember their names. So these 2 beside the egg cell, they like the bodyguard of the egg cell. They're the security of the egg cell. So it's called synergic. It's the security cell. And these 3, they are opposite of the egg cell. Are they like the enemy of egg cell? Are they anti the egg cell? So it's called antipodal cell. Alright. So now let's compare these 2 processes. Whenever they ask you to compare, bandingkan, you need to write both similarities and difference. So compare and contrast is the same thing. Okay? And similarities, okay, I'll show you the answers over here. Okay, so similarities, we have 3 actually. So both of them, they are production of gamete linear process. So both of course produce haploid gametes. And as we also saw, both got meiosis and mitosis. So these are the 3 similarities. Now, when in essay, right, difference always need to use table. Remember. Okay, essay difference must use table. So if you have 3 similarities, meaning you need at least 7 difference, because 1 difference is 1 mark, remember. Okay, so number 1, we mentioned where does it occur. 1 occur in anther. I showed you already just now. 1 occur in ovule. Okay, now we're comparing the process. So for the male one, right, it begins as microspore mother cell. The female one begins as megaspore mother cell. Now, both of these cells just now, they undergo meiosis to become 4, right? So this one developed into microspore cell, megaspore cell. So that's actually how we compare. We're comparing the process step by step. You meiosis already become what? The female meiosis already become what? So we are comparing. Okay, now actually I left out one more here is, we also can say the microspore, the 4 microspore do not degenerate. Right, just now they say there's no degeneration, right? If you meiosis 4, means it's 4. But however, this one, 3 of the megaspore degenerate, leaving only 1 megaspore cell, leaving only 1. Then the end product also different, right? In guys, human sperm, human guys is sperm, human female is ovum. So in plants also different, right? The male one is pollen grain, it's embryo sac. Alright? Then the nucleus mitosis. After meiosis, already mitosis, right? So the mitosis only occurs once in pollen grain. This one mitosis 3 times. And since you only got 2 nucleus produced, this one got 8. And the last one, we name all the nucleus also got. It's considered a comparison. So as we mentioned just now, pollen grain got generative and tube nucleus. This one, we got 1 egg cell, 2 polar nuclei, 2 synergic cell, 3 antipodal cell. Alright, so now, honestly, this comparison is slightly tougher a bit lah. Okay, which I actually don't expect this kind of question, this kind of comparison to come out in SPM lah. Yeah, because SBP paper usually is slightly harder one. Right, so yeah, you can just pause and copy yourself. Then, done already, we look at the next question. C. Alright, so C, they say, Mr. K has planted strawberry in a greenhouse. So greenhouse is not a green color house, but it's like a glass house they used to plant crops inside it. Okay, plant vegetables, fruits, and so on. So they say which decrease natural pollination. Now, pollination is the process of the pollen grain being transferred from the anther to the stigma of the carpel. Okay, yeah, so this part is called the stigma. So the pollen grain has to be transferred here, then only it can go inside here to carry out double fertilization. So in greenhouse, it somehow decreases this process. Okay, later we'll mention why. So they say based on the characteristic of strawberry flower, in diagram 9.3, explain the pollination. Okay, actually it's called pollinating agent that is involved. Sorry, OCD, pollinating agent. Agent pada bungaan. So pollinating agents are basically insects that mainly are insects okay, that help transfer pollen grain from the male part flower to the female part. So they say they want you to explain the pollinating agent that is involved. First question. Okay, so let's answer this one first. Now, so you show the answers here. Okay, so the pollinating agent involved are mainly insects, like bees. You know bees, right? They always go into the flowers and help to pollinate the flower. Now, why bees will help the flower to pollinate the pollen grain, help to transfer the pollen grain? That's because, number one, they have colorful petals. Flower have colorful petals. So we need to explain right now why insects are pollinating agent of strawberry flowers. Because strawberry flowers the petals are usually very big, colorful. They attract the bees to come in. Not just that, when the bee come inside the flower, usually inside the flower, they have nectar. Sweet nectar, 好像蜜糖这样子，花蜜 for the bee to suck it, eat it. So when the bee is inside, let's say this is the bee over here, when the bee is inside the flower that time, eating the nectar, the body of the bee, right, will kena exposed to the pollen grain from the anther. So the pollen grain will stick to their body. Okay? So when it flies to the next flower that time, it would then of course carry the pollen grain to the next flower, and the pollen grain might attach to the stigma. And that's how bee helps in pollination. Okay, so I already explained here. When the insects fly to the next flower, it will carry the pollen grain to the stigma, and therefore pollination occurs. So this question, I just explained why the flower can attract bee to become its pollinating agent. Now, the second part, they ask, the effect of decreasing natural pollination when strawberry is planted in greenhouse. So of course, you plant it in greenhouse, there are no bees inside the greenhouse. Bees are outside in the nature, right? So that's why I mentioned here, there will be lesser pollination occur therefore, lesser pollen grain transfer to the stigma and lesser double fertilization occurs. So I need to elaborate on that. Okay, so elaborate on the effect. So we know insect got lesser pollination. So the effect is you have lesser pollen grain transferred, lesser fertilization, and therefore, go back here, lower yield means lower fruits are being produced. So usually in this case, right, the farmers, they will manually use brush to brush the pollen grain and transfer the pollen grain, pollinate the flower manually. So that's what the farmer have to do if they plant it in greenhouse. They cannot rely on bees. Okay? Now, so you can copy this. Then next question, question 10. Now, question 10 is Form 4, Chapter 12, Nervous System. Now, this chapter can come out in essay or structure this year. Have quite high chance, so pay attention a bit. Now, Nervous system are divided into two parts, right? So nervous system, you have the peripheral nervous system and the central, what we call it as the CNS, central nervous system. So central nervous system are mainly consists of your brain and the spinal cord. So let's say this is a human, the brain, spinal cord. So that's the central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system is divided into, put this black color, brain, spinal cord, are divided into X over here. Peripheral nervous system have two parts. X is called cranial nerve. And the blue color one here, they are written Y is called spinal nerve. Okay, central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, right, is help you to interpret information. Cranial nerve, okay, it's peripheral nervous system, right, basically help to connect nerves from your central nervous system to all parts of your body. So cranial means your head, means nerves inside your head, means nerves that connect your eyes to your brain, nose, mouth, your hearing. Yeah, all these are called cranial nerve. Spinal nerve, they are connected to your arms, your body, your legs. So all these blue color one are spinal nerve. So they want the function. So spinal nerve basically connects, send nerve impulse from the brain, to and from the spinal cord are written here. So for example, if somebody hit you, the signal need to travel to here. So the spinal nerve will help you transfer the signal to the spinal cord, then to the brain. So if let's say your brain want to control your hand to move, the signal when needs from the brain come to the spinal cord, then the spinal nerve will carry the signal out from the spinal cord. That's why it's to and from the spinal cord. However, cranial nerve, your eyes, smell, your sight, your smell, your hearing, all this, right, is directly connected to your brain. Right? That's why this is just to and from the brain. Why they are directly connected to the brain and not spinal cord? Because they want it to be quick. So whatever you see has to be fast. Whatever you hear has to be immediate, cannot have delay. Right, then that's it. 2 marks only, easy. Next. They say a medical checkup shows that a patient had chronic pancreatitis. Means it's a disease related to the pancreas. They say the doctor suggested a certain part of the patient pancreas should be surgically removed. Explain the effect of removing certain part of the pancreas on the patient's sugar level and health. Now, pancreas basically secretes 2 hormones that help you regulate your blood sugar. That is, of course, insulin and glucagon. Okay, so don't have insulin, don't have glucagon, what will happen to you? So, insulin, need to explain 4 marks. The glucagon, you need to explain 4 marks. So that's how you get the 8 marks over here. So just a quick tip for your doing essay. When you do essay, try to allocate your marks first. Okay, you need to plan, tactic like that. Okay, how do I get 8 marks? So 4 marks, I explain regarding don't have insulin, what will happen, and the other 4 marks is the glucagon hormone. Okay, so if you mention insulin, you get 1 mark already. So less insulin secreted, number 1. So insulin is the hormone that helps you decrease your blood sugar. It converts excess glucose to glycogen. So now less of this will occur. So if you cannot convert excess glucose to glycogen, means you cannot decrease your blood sugar. Your blood sugar will be high. As I say, your blood sugar will increase beyond normal level. Or you can say blood glucose level will be too high, also can. Then I name the problem. So what's the problem of having too much sugar? Diabetes mellitus. Now, don't just say diabetes, must say diabetes mellitus only is the correct word. Yeah, mellitus. Okay. Then we do the same thing for glucagon. Okay, I type for you here. So, same thing. You also can say besides that, less glucagon is secreted. Oh, by the way, for the answers, right, the BM answer, I checked it already, right? They got mistake here. They actually write this as glucosa. Kurang glucosa dirembeskan. So actually it's supposed to be glucagon. So BM glucagon is spelled with a K Okay, so they write here wrong already. Okay, kurang glucagon dirembeskan. So if kurang glucagon dirembeskan, like just now, so glucagon does the opposite. Wait, less glycogen is converted into glucose. So glucagon does the opposite. Glucagon helps you to increase your blood sugar by converting just now the glycogen back to become glucose. Okay, so therefore, blood sugar will decrease below normal level. Yeah, glucagon is help you to increase blood sugar by converting glycogen back to glucose. So if you don't have glucagon, you cannot increase your blood sugar will remain low. So this problem is called hypoglycemia, meaning low blood sugar. So that's how I get the 8 marks over here. Next, they ask us to compare between two systems over here. Okay, once again, another comparison question. Endocrine system and nervous system. So system P and Q, very obvious here. This is the hormone system, endocrine system. And this is, you can see nerves, that's the nervous system. Now these two systems are under the same chapter. They are actually similar and different at the same time. So endocrine system actually help you to respond towards internal stimuli. Internal stimuli is basically homeostasis, means if your blood sugar too high, too low, how you regulate it. If your blood pressure high, body temperature high or low, how you regulate it. So nervous system help you respond to external stimuli. So if somebody call you, how you respond. If somebody hit you, you feel pain, how you then respond. So both of these systems, right, help you to respond towards stimulus. Just a different kind of stimulus and through different methods. So how are they different? How are they the same? Let me just straightaway show you here. So for similarities, both involve effector. So endocrine system, right, they use hormone to control your internal body, like endocrine glands. Yeah, so that's the effector. But for nervous system, the effector is your muscle. So if somebody call you, you will respond by walking towards the sound, or you will use your mouth and say, "Ha, what you want?" Okay, if somebody hit you, use your hand muscle to hit them back. So muscles are basically effectors lah. Both provide respond towards stimulus, definitely. Right, I already told you, right? One is internal, one is external. Okay, both help you respond. And both coordinate body activities. So movement and internal organ punya action, all these are called body activities. Now for the difference, once again, essay we use a table. So we can start by saying the easiest one, endocrine system, nervous system, because the question didn't mention what is the system, so we can mention it first, 1 mark. Then endocrine system, your hormones. So let's say from here, your pituitary gland, which is the main gland, want to control your pancreas, want to control, let's say your thyroid gland. So how they control is by sending hormone. For nervous system, if my brain want to control my arm, I send nerve impulse. Okay, then the remaining difference are all relate to these 2 points. Hormone. Hormone is the main method to transfer message in endocrine system. So hormones are in the form of chemical. Signals are transmitted in the form of chemical impulse. So in BM signal, we can use the word utusan. Or you can use the word signal also lah. By utusan lah, BM usually say utusan transmit loh. Transmit in BM is dihantar dalam bentuk impuls kimia. For this one, utusan dihantar dalam bentuk electric. Impulse electric. Yeah, so nerves are very fast because they're electric, very fast. But hormones, they are chemical, they flow very slowly. And yeah, slow, rapid, laju, lambat. Then hormones, they don't have their own duct. Remember, endocrine system is ductless gland. Okay, they don't have their own duct. 没有自己的管. Okay, unlike blood vessel, got blood circulation got blood vessel. Nervous system got neuron, got nerve. But this one, they don't have their own duct, so they will use blood to flow. So if hormone from here want to flow to here, you need to tumpang with the blood. Like you don't have your own car, you tumpang your friend's car like that. Okay. Hormones are long lasting. Like for example, if insulin want to decrease your blood sugar level, right? It will decrease for the hormone will last long for a certain period of time. Means like you cannot just like use insulin, then you last for like 2 seconds only. Okay, it's not like nerve like that. They say I want to raise my hand, raise, finish, 1 second done already. Insulin doesn't do that. When insulin want to reduce the blood sugar, right, it will carry on for few minutes, up to maybe 1 hour also possible. Okay, that's why one is long lasting, one is short term. Okay, and yeah, just now we say it already. Endocrine system consists of ductless endocrine glands. So all the glands over here, they don't have ducts one. Okay, they don't have their own tube one. Nervous system consists of millions of neurons. Okay, terdiri daripada berjuta-juta neuron. Okay, so that's the difference lah. Alright, now once you finish with this, last question. Question 11. So this is Form 5 Chapter 11. Got mixed a little bit, I think. Yeah, mixed a little bit Chapter 12, but mainly here is all 11. But 11 usually I expect it to come in structure rather than essay. But never mind. Let's do this. Now, we have 2 flies. One has long wings. Both have long wings actually. But you can see when they have children that time, right? 307 come out is long wings. 101 come out is vestigial wings. So there are certain amount of children that is totally different than the parent. So if you remember this inheritance thing, right, this thing is actually possible. Okay, so what happened here is we know that first, okay, what they ask you to do here is, let me read the question first. Draw schematic diagram to show how the results obtained. So 7 marks schematic diagram. Now this is actually very easy because you don't have to explain, just draw diagram, the cross-cross diagram. However, for essay, you need to be very, very specific with your diagram. Okay, first, they didn't give you the alleles, the English letter, capital, small letter, they didn't give you that. So we can start by saying, this one got marks on. So first point, we say let big L represent long wings and small l represent what's that being called? Vestigial. Yeah, vestigial. Okay, vestigial wings. Now, capital is dominant, small letter is recessive. Now, how I know that long is dominant gene, small letter is recessive? That's very simple because when 2 long winged parent, they have children that time, you have the ratio you can see 3:1. So majority is long wing. That's why I know majority definitely is dominant because dominant easy to inherit. You should know this by now. Okay. Now for they ask us to draw schematic diagram, so I need to draw this thing out. Okay. So then start from parent phenotype phenotype induk in DM. So you write parent phenotype got marks one. So long wings cross with long wing. Okay, then the next one is always the parent genotype. Now, since I know that there's a chance of getting vestigial wing, means both parents, they are actually heterozygote. Hetero means got mixed one dominant, one recessive. They are definitely not homozygote. Homo means dominant or recessive. So I know both of them are not big L definitely. Okay, so in exam, always circle this thing up. Then the next point is the gametes. Okay, so also try because sometimes right the question will give mark for this, so you have to try to remember this. Write the process here. So this is meiosis. You have one sperm carry big L, one carry small L. Here also the same. Depending on question, sometimes they'll give mark for this, sometimes they won't, but just write it lah. Okay, then next, the cross. So the cross is actually fertilization. Same, also write down here, fertilization. Okay, so you all should know how to do this crossing thingy. So remember 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4. 1 cross with 3, 1, 4. 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4 lah, we say in Chinese. Okay, so 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3. So always write the dominant one first. Big L, then small l. 3, 2, 3, 2, 4. And then this is your F1 genotype. Genotype F1 in BM. So genotype F1 means filial, first filial generation, means the first generation of the children. Then number 6, F1 phenotype. Oops. So this one is long wing. Long and small l, vestigial. So the last point is the ratio. Phenotype ratio. So your ratio, we will write like that. Long wing to vestigial wing. It is 3 to 1. Done. So the schematic diagram in essay, you need to write every single detail out, and the maximum marks is around 7 marks lah. Okay, no problem. Then okay, I give you a bit tips lah, because like some of you will like ask, how do I know 3 to 1 right is hetero? Now actually quite common sense. Now actually there's only like a few combination one. So actually right, you can see right, hetero, you can memorize the combination. Hetero is definitely 3 to 1, because if it's homo and homo right, big L right, is definitely 100% all be long wing. Imagine both is big L like that. Every children will inherit the big L, definitely. So that is 100% long wing. So I know definitely this is not the case. It also cannot be homo hetero, like this. Because you can see, this parent will both have big L. Means all the children, no matter who you are, because remember, every children need to inherit one from mother, one from father. So if this parent can only give you big L, all children definitely have one big L. Also, so that's why this one is also 1 to 0. Understand? Yeah. Then one more combo is hetero and recessive. Homo dominant, homo recessive. So this will be definitely 1 to 1. So there's only this few combination only one actually. So the only way to get 3 to 1 is definitely hetero, because to get this, both are long, the retail both are long. So in order to have one recessive one, both of them must have the recessive L. Then only these two have chance to fertilize each other. Okay. Now, back to here. Explain the type of inheritance shown in diagram 1.1. So there are two types of inheritance we learned here. One is the mono, one is dihybrid inheritance. So this is actually mono-hybrid inheritance. Okay, whereby it involves a pair of allele, right? Only involve one pair, which is L, right? You don't have other letters, which determines one characteristics. So the characteristics here that I determine is wing. The type of wings, whether is it long or vestigial. So that is one characteristic. Wing punya characteristics is like eye color, that's one characteristic. Hair color, one characteristic. This is probably wing pattern lah, we will say. Okay, so that's the 3 marks over here. Next, okay, albino. So albino is actually gene mutation where it causes you to inherit a cacat gene that causes you your whole body no color. So this gene actually is recessive one. Okay, so we are focusing on this one here right now. This big square here is normal male. Okay, it's not very clear here, so just write down normal male and a normal female. But when come out to them, their child, right, got one is albino female and another a normal female here. Okay, so very obvious, I know, see just like just now, 2 long wing parent give you one vestigial wing, come out got one vestigial wing punya children. Right, so just like here, 2 normal parent but come out got one albino. So same I know. So let's use A lah. Let's use big A as normal. So by the way, yeah, normal gene is always dominant one. The gene with the disease is always recessive. So that is albino over here. So I definitely know already. Same case, this is big A, small a, big A, small a. Okay, then the question asks, okay, the question didn't ask us to draw anything here lah. So they just ask here, benefits of advice to wear long sleeve shirt and dark sunglasses. So if you're albino, you don't have something called melanin. Melanin gives your skin pigment color. And skin color, like your skin, okay, why our skin have different toners, different people have different skin colors because of melanin. The more melanin you have, the darker your skin. And actually more melanin protects your skin against sunburn. Okay, so people who have albino, they have 0 melanin, therefore they have 0 skin color, so their whole body is white color one. Yeah, those kind of people. So therefore these people, they get sunburn and skin cancer very easily because their sun can damage their skin very easily. So these kind of people, they need to wear long sleeve and also sunglasses to protect both their skin and their eyes because their eyes also no color. Okay, so this essay I explained a bit lah. So the first one, okay, the A part, okay, 2 things they ask lah. So first I say, I explain a bit because you can say he lacks of melanin. Okay, actually it's not lack. He totally don't have melanin. He does not have melanin. So it's because his gene got problem, he cannot produce this thing called melanin. That's why the skin will have no pigment. Pigment means like color like that. Which therefore your skin will be very sensitive to sunlight and UV. So skin will be very sensitive towards sunlight and UV. So therefore wearing this will protect his skin from sunburn. And eyes also protect his skin and eyes. Eyes usually for those, same thing, like your eyes will have glare and then you damage your eyes also. So you want to protect your eyes also. Okay, then the next one actually very easy. Why the skin color phenotype of Miss X and Y is different even though they are twins? So they say that these two children are twins, but why one is albino, one is not? So the only way for that to happen is by having non-identical twins, kembar tidak seiras. That is because, long feng tai, that is because if you are twins, you have the same gene. So if one albino, both have the same. Both will be albino. So this is definitely non-identical, because non-identical, you are formed by 2 sperms and 2 ovum. So therefore, both of them will have different genetic content. So let's say if this sperm cacat, that's why this one might have albino, this one will not have. Because identical is same sperm, same ovum. One sperm fertilizes one ovum to form one zygote, then the zygote split into 2. So if it's identical, right, one albino, both albino. One no albino, both don't have. Because if one sperm cacat, both is cacat. Okay, so then the next question we will say, the next part, I say that they are non-identical twins. No? Okay, so you can say which are form. So a bit different topic punya explanation, chapter 4, 15, form 4, the twins, that part. Form from 2 sperm and ovum. So hence they both have different genetic content. Mereka mempunyai bahan genetik yang tidak sama lah. Okay. Right. Finally, the last question. Miss X is planning to get married. So how Miss X marriage can increase the chances to get a normal child? So if you are albino, definitely you have both small a, because the only way to inherit recessive punya characteristics is to have both recessive. Because if you have one big A is dominant, then you'll be normal. So Miss X is this one. So if she want to have a normal child, of course she have to marry a husband that is totally normal. Okay, so that all the children come out will definitely be normal. Because once again, just like I said just now, a child have to inherit genes from both parents. If you marry a normal husband, this husband can only produce big A. So no matter what children you are, you will inherit at least one big A from here. So the children definitely will at least have one big A. Big A is dominant for normal. The child definitely will be normal. Okay, so this is what I need to explain right now. Okay, so I already have the explanation written already. So the explanation actually just literally translate this diagram that I draw for you over here. So she must marry a homozygote normal male. Homo. If you marry hetero, big A, small a, there's a chance for these two to combine. Means you still have a chance of getting albino child. So let's say if I want 100% normal, I must find a husband that is normal. So you want to be my husband, I test your blood first. Then only you can become my husband. So therefore, I explain here because her husband can only produce gamete with dominant allele big A. So as I show you here, during fertilization that time, the gamete with big A will fertilize with small a. So all the children will definitely get one big A. So during fertilization, gamete with alleles big A will fertilize with gamete small a. So therefore, all the child will be big A, small a. All children will be normal. So that's what we explain over here. First, you mention what husband and then what gamete he has. Gamete, fertilization, then the child. Okay, so in inheritance kind of question, we always say what gamete, fertilize with what gamete, then what child you have. So that's the 3 marks over here. Alright, so I hope that these 2 videos actually help you a bit, give you a rough idea like how to answer SPM questions, because SBP actually the standard is quite high, so if you can do SBP, then SPM should be no problem. Okay, so good luck for your exam lah. See you guys real soon. Bye bye.